There are so many things I like about Mocha chocolate icebox cake. It's going to be hard to choose just 3, but let me see if I can do it. The first one is that you make it the night before and it just sits in the refrigerator, no cooking at all. Second one is that it involves chocolate chip cookies. That's always a good thing. And the third thing is it involves mocha whipped cream. That's always good. Let's go make some. This cake is based on that classic icebox cake that has like chocolate wafers and whipped cream. I think we can do better than that. So I'm going to start with heavy cream and make a mocha whipped cream, and I'm going to layer it with chocolate chip cookies. How good does that sound? So I've got 2 cups of cold heavy cream, and then I'm going to add mascarpone, which is going to give it lots of body. So I need 12 ounces of mascarpone. It's kind of like an Italian cream cheese. So each of these is 8 ounces. I'm going to put them right in. It's like rich and delicious, and it's going to stabilize the whipped cream. So 1.5 of these is 12 ounces. Put that right in. Great. Okay, and then you got to make it a little sweet, right? So we've got 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of Kahlua, which is coffee liqueur. This makes it a really grown-up icebox cake. Next thing is cocoa powder. It's unsweetened cocoa powder. This isn't cocoa, like the mix. This is the real deal. 2 tablespoons. 1. This is really good cocoa powder. 2. Next is espresso powder. I've already added coffee liqueur, but I'm going to add espresso powder and just give it a little more flavor. So this isn't espresso grinds. This is instant espresso powder. 1 teaspoon and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So all those layers of flavor are going to be great. Vanilla, coffee, chocolate. Okay, now this is the key. You want to turn it on really slowly, otherwise you're going to be wearing it. Just turn it on very slowly, get it started until it's all mixed, and then I'm going to whip it like whipped cream. I actually got the idea of this recipe from a friend who's a caterer. I said, what's the easiest dessert that you make for your customers that they love? And he said, icebox cake. And I thought, okay, I tried it. I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it was great. I thought, I think I can make that even better. Okay, then just turn it up a little bit, slowly, until it's whipped cream. It's kind of become a classic Barefoot Contessa recipe. And I love it because you make it one day, you put it in the refrigerator for a couple of hours or even overnight, and you just serve it the next day. No cooking, so easy. Okay, it's done. Wait till you see what this looks like. It's so good. How decadent does that look? Okay, so I've got the mocha whipped cream. That's all ready. I'm going to clear the decks a little bit so I can work here. I'm the messiest cook you know. Okay, so this is how you assemble the whole thing. So I've got a springform pan. It's 8 inches, and it has to be really high, like 2.5 to 3 inches high, because you want this to be tall. And you want it a springform so you can eventually take the sides off without having to take the cake out. Okay, first layer, chocolate chip cookies. And just put them right in the bottom. And actually, you want to break them to fill in the little spaces. They're all going to get smushed with the cream, so it doesn't matter that they've been broken. You just want to sort of fill the bottom of the pan. I'm using my friend Kathleen King's cookies. They're called Tate's cookies. They're called Tate's because her father was a potato farmer. And they used to call him Tate. Okay, that's 1 layer done. Next, mocha whipped cream. I'm probably going to do about 5 layers. So I'm going to do a layer of mocha whipped cream right on top. And then I use an offset spatula and just smooth it out. And you want to go right to the edge of the pan. Okay, so that's 1 layer. And now I'm going to put more cookies on top. Just want to make sure the cookies are all in 1 layer each time. You don't want them piled up on top of each other. Best part of this recipe is that there are all those little bits of cookies left over, so the cook gets some. Okay, another layer of mocha whipped cream. You can really use any kind of chocolate chip cookies, but you want something that's like really thin and crisp so it absorbs the liquid from the cream. And that way it kind of pulls together. It's kind of like tiramisu, you know, with the Italian lady fingers and the rum mascarpone. and it becomes something that you can actually cut. Okay, more cookies. My favorite expression, more cookies. You know what I always say? You can be miserable before you eat a cookie, and you can be miserable afterwards, but you can never be miserable while you're eating a cookie. Okay. More whipped cream. I'm just going to fill this whole thing up. Actually, sometimes I just bring the whole cake to the table and everybody help themselves. There's something so childlike and decadent about it. I catered a big party once and I put a whole cake on each table and everybody served it family style. It was fun. Okay, more cookies. More whipped cream. When I'm doing a dinner party, I'm always looking for things that I can make ahead, so I don't have to cook everything the same day, and this is perfect for that. You can make it in the morning and leave it in the fridge, but even better, you can put it in the fridge overnight. Okay, one more layer of cookies, one more layer of cream. Oh, too bad there are cookies left over. What are we gonna do with them? Can't imagine. Fill in the little spaces, and then one final layer of Mocha whipped cream right on top. This is really, it's so great because you can really taste everything in it. The coffee, the chocolate, the Kahlua, the mascarpone, and just spread it all out. If you think you can't bake, this isn't really baking. So it's a perfect dessert for somebody who thinks they can't bake. You can't really mess it up. Actually, I did mess it up one time. I forgot to put the Kahlua in. I had to go out and buy more cookies and more cream and start all over again. But you can't mess it up. Okay, this is gonna go into the fridge now. It's gonna sit overnight. It's gonna be so good. But happily, I have one that's already done. Let me show you. This one's all set. It's been in there overnight. And wait till you see it when it comes out. So this is why I have a springform pan. I want to get it out from the sides with a small knife. Just run it around the edge of the pan. Okay, this looks like it's set beautifully. Mocha whipped cream and cookies. Now, how did I think of that? Oh, whoa. Try not to get your fingers in it first. Okay, there we go, loose. And just take the springform pan off the outside. This is why you could never get it out of the pan otherwise. Okay, just like that. And I usually kind of smooth the top because getting it out of the pan, you make a little bit of a mess. Isn't this just amazing? Oh, the cookies and cream. I kind of smooth the outside a little bit just to give it a nice finish. And the edge. Okay, now cake plate. I like it very flat cake plate. Just shows the cake best. And just leave it on the base, otherwise you'll never get it off. Put it right on top. And then a little decoration. I always do some kind of chocolate. If you do hard chocolate, like dark chocolate, it's really hard to shave it in curls. But if you use milk chocolate, it's easier. So just like that. Just put curls of chocolate on the top so everybody knows it's chocolate. Like you wouldn't know it was chocolate. Just right on the top. It's always just nice to have a little decoration. If you only have bittersweet chocolate, you can put it in the microwave for about 15 seconds to soften it, and then you can make nice curls. How's that? Does that look good? Now, does that look like somebody's birthday cake? I'd say that's really special. So I'm going to show you when you cut a piece out of it, what it looks like. And I'm not doing this because I want to taste it. Or maybe I am. Oh, it's just so good. Okay, now I need a plate and a fork. I'm just going to take this out. Oh, it's coming out. Look at that. How outrageous is that? I might have to try it. It's so good. The cookies and the mascarpone, you can really taste that little bit of Kahlua. This is so good. And that's a cake that could make grown men weep. This recipe and more can be found in my book, How Easy Is That? Or at barefootcontessa.com. I thought I'd surprise Michael and Jim with a cake for their anniversary party. So it's 1 3/4 cup of flour. I'm gonna sift all the dry ingredients together. 2 cups of sugar. I'm gonna sift them right into the bowl, mixing bowl. And since it's a chocolate cake with chocolate buttercream, it's got 3/4 cup of cocoa powder, dark chocolate cocoa powder. It smells so good. It's so chocolatey. Okay, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda. It helps it rise. 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to sift all these together. So the method of this cake is to sift all the dry ingredients together in a cloud of chocolate. And then I'm going to slowly mix the wet ingredients into it. Okay, that's the dry ingredients. I'm just going to mix them on the mixer until they're combined. Okay, now for the wet ingredients. The first thing is a cup of buttermilk. I always shake it because it does settle. Make sure it's well mixed. So I'm going to do it in a measuring cup. That'll be easier to pour into the cake batter. So I need 1 cup of buttermilk, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 2 eggs. Just beat the eggs a little bit. Right into the wet ingredients. I use extra large eggs. 1 teaspoon of good vanilla, really important when you're doing chocolate. Okay, I'm just going to combine these. And then with the mixer on low, I'm just going to put it into the dry mixture. And then I have a secret ingredient. Or I should say Michael's grandmother had a secret ingredient. This recipe calls for a cup of hot brewed coffee. And I always think coffee is really important for chocolate. It makes it taste really chocolatey, and that's exactly what this does. Right into the mixture. I've got 2 8-inch cake pans. I lined them with parchment paper, butter and flour. Pressure's on. It has to be good because Michael knows exactly what it is. He actually served this cake to me once at dinner, and I just begged him for the recipe. I didn't have to beg very hard. I'll make sure they're pretty equal size. Okay, into the oven, 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes, and then we're going to cover it with the easiest, most delicious buttercream you've ever seen. So chop up 6 ounces of really good semi-sweet chocolate. I'm just going to melt the chocolate in a bowl that I've set over simmering water. In the meantime, I'm going to start the rest of the buttercream. So I need 2 sticks of butter, 1/2 pound, at room temperature. I'm just going to beat that on medium speed. Okay, the next thing I need is 1 extra large egg yolk and a teaspoon of good vanilla extract. Okay, I think the chocolate's going to be ready by now. Let's see. Take this off the heat and just let the chocolate cool while I turn the cakes out. Just add it to the butter and vanilla. So I've got 2 teaspoons of hot water. I'm just going to put in a tablespoon of instant coffee powder, which is a very intense coffee. Just melt this together and pour it into the buttercream. And I'm just going to whip it for a minute. Make sure it's really well blended. I'm going to turn it on low and add all this gorgeous chocolate. The chocolate's actually cooled now a little bit. You don't want to pour hot chocolate into butter, otherwise the whole thing will melt. You can really smell the chocolate and the coffee together. A little hint of vanilla. And that's Michael's grandmother's chocolate buttercream. Icing a cake, just go over it very gently. Start from the top and work your way down the sides. Okay, so now I've got buttercream on all sides of the cake. I'm just going to go up and down the sides. The good news about an old-fashioned cake is it's supposed to be a little messy. And then I'm just gonna smooth the top, just sort of big swirls. I can't wait for dessert. Chocolate cake with a mocha frosting. So for the batter, I've got 12 tablespoons of unsalted butter, room temperature, and 2 cups of sugar. And I've beaten it until it's really light and fluffy. And now I'm gonna add a tablespoon of good vanilla. And I'm gonna turn it down to low when I mix these in. And 3 extra large eggs at room temperature. And I just put them in one at a time until they mix in. Okay, next for the coffee and chocolate mixture. So I'm gonna start with hot tap water. 2/3 of a cup of cocoa powder. You want really good cocoa powder. Next is a teaspoon of instant espresso powder. It's very strong, but it'll be good with the chocolate. Okay, and I'm gonna whisk this together. You'll see it just dissolves in the water. The coffee and the chocolate. And then I'm gonna add 2/3 of a cup of half and half. Just think how good that's gonna be in the cake. Okay, so that's the chocolate mixture. Next, the dry mixture. What I did was I sifted together 1 3/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And that's all done. So, I'm gonna show you how I put them in. On low speed, alternately in thirds, starting and ending with the flour. Just put it in slowly, so it's mixed in. Okay, that's some flour. Next is the chocolate mixture, chocolate and coffee. Make sure each one's blended in before you start the next one. Okay, a little more flour. This smells amazing. It's not even in the oven yet. Very slowly, just make sure it's really well mixed in. And you wanna make sure the bottom is well mixed in. Okay, ready to go into the pan. So I've got a 9 by 13 inch pan. I buttered it, put parchment paper down, and then buttered and floured the whole thing. So there's no point in making a cake if you can't get it out of the pan. Okay. And just smooth out the top. Now I'm gonna bake it, and then I'm gonna cool it. I'll put the cake in a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. Next, it's about cooling. I'll leave the cake in the pan until it's completely cooled. Then I'll flip it out onto my hand, carefully remove the parchment paper, and place it on a serving board. So the mocha frosting couldn't be easier. I put 12 ounces of chopped bittersweet chocolate into a bowl, along with 3 tablespoons of diced unsalted butter and 2 teaspoons of instant espresso powder to enhance the chocolate flavor. Then I poured over 1 1/4 cups of simmering heavy cream, stirred it occasionally until the chocolate melted. Then I added 1 tablespoon of coffee liqueur, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, stirred the frosting until it was smooth, covered it with plastic wrap, and refrigerated it for only 30 minutes. It's really like ganache. If you whip ganache or chilled ganache, it ends up like frosting, just like this. That's it. Okay, I'm just gonna pour this right on the cake, nice and cold, and then just swirl it on. I'm just gonna frost the top. I like when you can see the cake and the frosting. 12 pieces, and I'll show you how I cut it. That's a dessert. Everybody will remember. If I have one go-to chocolate cake, this is it. It's chocolate ganache cake, and it starts with 1/4 pound of unsalted butter, and it has to be room temperature. 1 cup of sugar. This cake is amazing because you can make it in almost any size, and it's completely foolproof. I'm just gonna cream these together until the butter's light and fluffy, and the sugar is mixed in. So first what I've done is I've buttered an 8-inch round pan, and it's got a nice high 2-inch side. And then the question is, how do you get a square piece of parchment paper into a round pan? So take the piece of paper and do it in half, and then fold it in half again. Fold it in half again, just as many times as you can, just like that. And then you put the tip right where the middle of the pan is and cut off inside the pan like that. And if it's too big, you can just refold it and recut it. And now what I want to do is butter the paper and the pan and flour the whole thing. So I just use the paper the butter came out of. Easy as can be. A little bit of flour. and just flour the whole pan, the sides and everything. Just make sure you get the whole thing. The butter and sugar is perfectly mixed. It's kind of light and fluffy, and the butter is pale yellow. So now the next thing I want to add is 4 eggs. Just I'm going to do it on low speed. And I add 1 egg at a time, just until it's incorporated. The next ingredient in this cake is the secret ingredient, chocolate syrup. It's a whole 16-ounce can. I'm just going to pour it right in. Next is a tablespoon of vanilla. It's a lot of vanilla for an 8-inch cake, but it really makes it taste great. Okay, and the last ingredient is flour. I'm going to turn it on low. 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And at this point, I don't want to overmix it, so I'm just going to put it in slowly. If you dump it in, you'll end up with lumps. But if you put it in slowly with the mixer on low speed, you'll end up with a delicious cake every time. Just until it's mixed in. I love the smell of this. Okay, I think this is perfectly mixed. Okay, I want to make sure there are no lumps, no flour. Perfect. I'm just going to pour it right into the pan. This cake isn't going to rise very much, so don't worry about it filling the pan. It doesn't have any leavening in it. I'm going to bake this cake 325 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes, just until the cake tester comes out clean. And in the meantime, I've actually made not 1, but 2 cakes. I'll bet you're wondering why. I'm going to tell you in a second. And I've made chocolate ganache to pour all over the cakes. Look how gorgeous it is. It's so rich and wonderful. Let me tell you how I made it. I poured a cup of heavy cream into a bowl, set over a pan of simmering water. I added a pound of semi-sweet chocolate chips, 2 teaspoons of instant coffee granules to bring out the flavor of the chocolate, and stirred it occasionally while it melted together. In fact, the more you stir it, the shinier it gets. Now you're going to find out the reason why I made 2 cakes. Lottie Hoyk, who does social media with me, we did a video recently for Instagram of how to do a chevron pattern on a chocolate cake.
You made it look very easy, so I'm nervous.
It was so much fun. So I'm turning the tables on Lottie, and I'm going to teach her how to do the chevron pattern. So I combined 1 3/4 cups of confectioner sugar and about 3 tablespoons of water. You want to adjust it a little bit just so you get a really thick pouring consistency. Okay, so now you take a little knife and you use the back of the knife, not the cutting edge, the back, and you slide it right across, kind of lightly. 1 more. Yay! I did it! My experience, the only thing kids like more than chocolate cake is a huge chocolate cake. So I'm going to make a double fudge sheet cake for Lily and David Palmer, and I think they're going to just love it. First, I need 2½ cups of flour. This is all-purpose flour. Just want to make sure there's no leavening in it. Okay, the next thing is cocoa powder. It's really important for good chocolate cake. Just choose a really rich cocoa powder. And I need 1½ cups. I'm sifting all these ingredients. It's going to combine them, and it's going to make sure there are no little lumps in it. Next is 2 1/4 teaspoons of baking soda. You don't want a cake that's too light, and you don't want one that's too dense, just right, which is why I prefer, instead of using flour that has leavening in it, to do my own leavening. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It's really important, particularly for chocolate cake. I'm just going to sift this all together. That cocoa powder smells so good. There are little bits in the bottom of the sieve. Just run your fingers along it. Sort of push it through the sieve, and you get every single bit. Wonderful. Okay, next, butter and sugar. You need 1/2 pound of unsalted butter. That's 2 sticks. It's really important that it's room temperature butter because it really just makes a light and fluffy cake. I need a cup of granulated sugar. And a cup of brown sugar. Brown sugar is really granulated sugar with some molasses added. So 1 cup of brown sugar right in. But what it does is give a little extra depth of flavor. I'm just going to let that cream together on medium speed for about 3 to 4 minutes until it gets really light and fluffy, and then it absorbs all the other ingredients. So next I'm going to get the eggs ready. And these should be room temperature too. I never crack an egg on the bowl because otherwise you just get eggshell in the bowl. And nobody needs a crunchy eggshell. Okay, that's 3. I'm just going to add them 1 at a time. until they get really absorbed into the butter and sugar mixture. Okay, that's 3 eggs. This would be a great time to give the bowl a scrape, make sure it's really well mixed. So just turn it off and just scrape down the edges of the bowl. The key to making a cake is make sure it's really well mixed, so you don't end up with a lot of flour in one place and a lot of butter in another place. And actually even the beaters, because sometimes they get a little jammed up. Okay, that looks good. This is looking really nice and creamy. It's wonderful. The next ingredient is vanilla. I love good vanilla. 3 teaspoons of good vanilla. Okay, next the wet ingredients. First thing is buttermilk. Buttermilk's actually low-fat milk that has a culture added, so it's very thick. My grandparents used to drink it. I think it's disgusting, but it's fabulous in cakes. So I need 1½ cups of buttermilk. Sour cream also keeps the cake really moist. So I need 3/4 cup of sour cream. That's half, a little extra. And the last thing is coffee. Coffee, chocolate, I always talk about how they go together. And I have some left over from breakfast. So 3 tablespoons of coffee, brewed coffee. If you don't have freshly brewed coffee, you can just make a little bit of instant coffee. Brewed coffee always tastes so much better. Just gonna give it a little whisk so it's mixed together. So I have my dry ingredients, I have the wet ingredients, and I have the butter and sugar mixture. It's a classic thing to do for a cake to keep it light and moist. It's on low speed. I'm just gonna add the dry ingredients first and the wet ingredients alternating, really slowly. And that way it keeps the batter very light. If you put all the dry ingredients in first, it would get really dense. If you put all the wet ingredients in first, it would be too thin. The whole kitchen smells like chocolate already. Perfect. This is called a half sheet pan. It used to be you could only find it in restaurant supply places, but now almost every cookware store has it. What I did is I buttered and floured it first. You want to flour it and then tap out the flour so you don't have excess flour in the pan. Just push the batter to the corners and make sure it's really even. So this is going to go into the oven 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes, just until it springs back and the cake tester comes out clean. One of the best things about a cake this size is it's kind of like this blank canvas. I'm going to get all kinds of fabulous candies and the kids can decorate it. Now how fun is that going to be? Can't wait to see this one. At Barefoot Contessa, we used to make so many cakes, and they were all beautifully decorated, piped with buttercream, fresh flowers. Every once in a while, somebody would say, I need a cake for a child, and we'd just do crazy stuff with candy. It was really fun. So now I've got a big chocolate sheet cake, and we're going to decorate it for candy, and I'm in the right place. At Barefoot Contessa, we used to have a counter at the register, and there were little bags of candy tied up in ribbons. They were so great. And everybody would go, I think I'll take these home for the kids. The kids, huh? You and I know. They were eating it on the way home. I'm going to spread the cake with buttercream, and then I'm going to hand it over to the kids to decorate it with candy. This is just a really bad excuse to go crazy in a candy store. Love these. I think 4 of these, the kids will love them. Nope. Nope. Oh, these look great together. Okay, Jordan almonds it is. Now, if these kids can't have fun with these, I'm not the Barefoot Contessa. This looks like amazing frosting. Wow. It's so good, and it's easy to make. I'll show you how. First, start by making a ganache. Melt 24 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips in a bowl over a pan of simmering water. Add 1½ cups of heavy cream. Stir it once in a while until you have really smooth, melted chocolate. Then with the heat off, add 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup. This makes it really shiny. To give the chocolate depth of flavor, I add a ½ teaspoon of good vanilla. It makes such a difference. Then this is really important. Allow it to cool completely to room temperature before you go on. Pour it into a mixer fitted with a whisk attachment and add a half a stick of room temperature butter and whisk it all together until it becomes a really thick, rich, delicious chocolate frosting. It just takes a few minutes. I've got this fabulous chocolate cake. It's nice and cooled. I'm going to do buttercream frosting on it. Lots of buttercream frosting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the kids to decorate it. I mean, is this double chocolate or what? The whole key to this is to make it look really kind of rough and homemade, which of course it is. This is called a palette knife, but you can also use a dinner knife if you don't have one. And just smooth it out. I actually think buttercream was originally invented to keep the cake moist. It sort of acts as a sealer. So you want to make sure it goes right to the edge. You want something very earthy, very simple, big swirls. And it's just the base for the candy that the kids are going to decorate it with. Okay, a little taste, make sure it's okay. So good. Well, that's my part done. Now it's up to the kids.
Wow, look how pretty.
Okay, guys, I made you double chocolate fudge cake. Say that 10 times fast. You want to write your name on it?
Yeah.
What do you like, pink?
Yeah.
Okay, pink, yellow. And what do you like, David? You want white? Okay.
Yeah, that's white. It's okay.
That'll look good.
I'm gonna do yellow. I've got an idea.
I'm going to decorate it with candy. How's that? Oh, I like that. The casual approach, Sherry.
Exactly.
How about the eyes?
Wasn't that good?
The candy
Oh, I
eyes.
see.
Oh, and a nose. Okay, who
course.
wants to eat
That's
cake?
good.
I do.
Okay.
It's hard to cut a
Watch
piece
this.
apart, isn't it?
Watch this. Okay, Lily gets a big piece.
Oh, wow.
How's that? How's that, Lily?
I do it too big.
Think you can eat that?
You need that? Okay. Okay, David, you want some?
Oh my God.
No.
And the good news is there's enough left for Sherry and me.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's for you.
Yeah, this is just my size. We can have seconds though, right?
Okay, and everybody can take the rest home. How's that?
Jeez. Do you need a bigger plate?
How's the chocolate cake?
Amazing.
Oh, good. I'm so glad Lily likes it. Now, I would say that's a mess, but the good news is it still tastes great, right?
Exactly.